guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be talking to Apex Survival Gear. This is one of my friends. He actually runs a insanely successful prepping channel on Facebook, which is wild and crazy. He plays around in the wild, wild west. What platforms can we find you on?
Mostly Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, X, and YouTube, but mostly Facebook.
Nice, nice. So what got you into prepping?
Okay. Um, I was born after Hurricane Hugo in South Carolina, and Hurricane Hugo destroyed the entire area where I live now. So growing up, everybody would talk about losing their home, losing everything they had to Hurricane Hugo. So there's always that devastation in the background of a conversation. Everything was pre or post losing everything they had. So that kind of instilled that in me to
Mm-hmm.
prepare. Also, this is kind of stupid. Actually, it's really stupid, but I like it. Is Resident Evil. When I was a
Oh,
kid, I loved horror and video games, and I played Resident Evil 2 when I was a little kid, and I played it like late at night. And after that, I would always go around my house and make sure the doors, windows are locked, fences are locked, everything's done, and my Red Ryder's like next to my bed. And kind of like that.
I
So,
like that. That's great. I went as Alice from Resident Evil last year for Halloween, so I'm a big Resident
nice.
Evil fan. I think that's amazing. That definitely brings it up. What's inspired you to create Apex Survival Gear?
What inspired me to do Apex Survival Gear? Well, I always wanted to do online retail,
Hmm.
and I always liked prepping, so I kind of want to just go with that. It kind of just made sense to do social media first
Hmm.
and then go into the retail side of things. Um, I got some notes here. Let me look at my notes.
You're totally good.
Thank you. Um, so yeah, actually, I wrote this down. The moment I think I said, yeah, I have to do it is actually with Canadian Prepper because I've watched this guy for years. Loved
Hmm.
all his stuff. I watched a bunch of other people. When I saw a video of his warehouse, I was like, that's so cool. I have to give it a try. So I've always wanted to do it, always wanted to do online retail. I'm going to give it a shot.
Yep. Canadian Prepper, he's fantastic. He built a huge platform, amazing platform, and has done incredible
Yes.
things with reviewing different types of gear and like finding out what's kind of junk and crap. And I think that that's a really inspiring.
Yeah, it
Um,
was his bug out roll. Like I got
mhm.
his bug out roll right when he made it. I was one of the first people to buy it. I actually took it to Egypt with me. I got some great footage of his bug out roll with the
Mhm.
pyramids in the background, like on a camel, and the Sphinx is in the background in one of them. I got him some amazing content for that, and that was way before I was even on social media and stuff.
Did you send him the pictures of it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, awesome. That's amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Um, what was the moment that made you realize that preparedness was not just a hobby, it was a mission?
So I guess going back to the online retail thing.
Mhm.
Um, it always was something ever since I was a little kid, like I mentioned before, it was always a hobby. And then when I wanted to do it professionally,
Mhm.
that's when I said, this is what I'm devoting a lot of my time and energy to. I'm just going to try to make it happen.
Yeah,
When I want to do it professionally. And that was it right there.
that's
That's,
amazing.
that's when
How did you start your Facebook group? What day did
I
that
started
like?
the group.
Mhm. You just started it?
Uh, that's because I got in trouble with Facebook on my page. It was going really well for a while, and I
Mhm.
posted something. They're like, "Oh, you can't post." They took it totally out of context, by the way.
Facebook does that sometimes.
Hard. Oh, I'm restricted right now, actually, semi-restricted. Still, um, so I got like the following just dropped, views dropped, everything dropped. So I said I'm gonna try a group, and I started the group, and I posted over 10 times a day, personally invited people just every single day, diligently pushing the group.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it paid off. I just woke up one morning and it was like I grew 1,000 people overnight.
Yep.
And it took me like the first 1,000 took like, 2 months maybe.
Yep.
And then it just compounded to where I think the fastest growth we had was, I think, 10,000 members in 18 hours. That
Wow,
was the
that's
fastest period
amazing.
of time. Yeah, that was pretty exciting.
That
That's
is
also when I
that's
decided I needed mods.
that's when you decided you needed moderators. Moderators
Yeah,
really do help the world go round. A lot of people don't realize
big
that in
time.
social media.
I couldn't
Um,
do it without them.
what is one of the funniest posts you've ever seen on Facebook?
Oh, I don't know. Facebook's got some pretty good stuff. I don't know. Oh gosh, probably something horrible and dark and like mean or something.
Yeah,
Um, Probably. Um, I don't know. Funniest thing? I really couldn't say the funniest thing
the
because
funniest
Facebook's,
one.
I mean, people are always cracking jokes and making funny memes all the time, like every
Yep.
single day.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is a fatal mistake you think that you see a lot in the prepping community on Facebook?
I think a mistake people make is kind of getting too worked up about nothing, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is kind of an internet thing in general, like getting offended at something that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really matter. Like I don't know, someone says you're stupid, and this person called me stupid, and it's like just ignore it. Like if they're trying
Right.
to dox you or being a horrible person, like really bad, then you can do something about it. Um, Also sensationalizing things, not
Mm-hmm.
focusing on practical prepping and just focusing on doomsday, end of the world,
Yup.
revelation type of things. That's really fun to talk about. I love it. Everybody loves it. It's the funnest thing, but you also need to prepare for like tornadoes and floods and hurricanes.
Yep, that average prepping of just, you incorporate in your life your food storage, your survival skills, those kind of things. I mean, we all love a good zombie apocalypse. I mean,
Yeah.
would you like the running zombies or the walking zombies first?
Walking. Oh God,
Walking?
walking, please.
If it's
Oh,
running, I'm opting out, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, if it's running, I'm out, okay? We're not doing some World War Z level. No, absolutely
nope.
not. Um, what's a core message you want people to hear about your brand and your pages of like what you love about it?
I would say if people could take a message from it, I think learn to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You, you know, it's okay to rely on other people, but don't expect it. Prepare to rely on yourself, your knowledge, your skills, and your equipment.
Yep.
And make the world a better place. Don't
Right.
make it worse, make it better.
Make it better. What are
Yeah.
3 types of survival gear you would never go without?
Mm, okay. My gun, my wallet, and my phone. And maybe my leather bin, because that's what I carry. I carry the 4 things every day.
Mm-hmm.
So those right there.
Those right there? All
Yeah,
right.
easily. Phone, Leatherman, gun, wallet.
All right. What
Yeah,
do you think people think they need but often don't end up using?
gun, 100%. The
Mm-hmm.
gun, which is a good thing. I know
Yep.
people who've carried a gun for 50 years and they pulled it out to shoot a snake.
Yep.
I know people who've carried a gun for less than a year and actually used it in a self-defense situation,
Yep.
you know. So hopefully you'll never need it. That's the
Yeah,
best case
that's
scenario.
one of those ones that you hope you never need. I see a lot like sometimes when I'm hiking, like I'm always carrying, but occasionally there's a bear and I
Hmm?
have to like de-escalate the situation like, "Hey bear, hey, I know we don't want to do this today." Like I'm hoping I don't ever have to pull. How do you test
That's
your
very
gear
brave
before
of
you
you.
Oh, thanks. How do you
Yeah.
test your gear before you recommend it? Like,
I actually want to go back to the gun thing. I want to mention my wife, Miss
mhm,
Apex. She actually has been carrying a gun for semi carrying a gun for I think 3 years now, and
yeah,
she actually had to pull her gun out earlier this year in a self-defense situation. She didn't shoot. It was the
yeah.
best case situation. She pulled her gun out, and the
Mhm.
person trying to get to her saw that and backed away.
Wow, that's amazing though that she was prepared. She was able to
Oh yeah.
address the situation, de-escalate the situation, like
Yeah.
escalate it, but de-escalate it at the same time. Do you feel like the temperature is changing a lot right now in like the current climate of people?
What do you mean?
Like, I've noticed a lot of people becoming more hostile since like COVID, where everyone's kind of on edge, financial struggles, those kind of things where things like just escalate very quickly.
Yes. Yeah, I would say so. It seems like it could be the internet and people sensationalizing things that we're noticing it more,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always been like that, but I don't think so. I actually do think it is getting worse. The
Yeah,
economy's not doing it. It's been better,
it's
you
been
know.
better.
It has
Yeah,
been better, and that's a big thing.
some people think that it's just because it's on the internet we see it more and it did like it
Mhm.
existed before and we've kind of covered some of those subjects and I think more now like we see it more often. Like I see it like road rage, things escalating very very quickly. People are in like 90 miles an hour hurries and then they're just so flustered they don't even know how to manage their own um capabilities. They don't know how to like de-escalate themselves like okay, this isn't that big of a deal. Like let's calm down. Uh, do you think
Yeah,
civil unrest is potentially possible?
100%.
100%?
100%. We see it everywhere in the world. Somewhere is some sort of civil unrest going on. And
Mhm.
eventually it's going to come to you. If you live in a certain size population, eventually it's going to make its way
Yep.
in time. Yeah.
On the doomsday chart, we all talk about like nukes are up here, zombies are up here. What do you think is the most likely SHTF situation?
The most likely global SHTF situation probably be a CME, coronal mass ejection from the
Mhm.
sun. I, practically speaking, it's happened before. It's going to happen again. Um, eventually, it's just going to hit.
It's just
And
going to
if we're
hit.
not ready for that, yeah, it's going to happen. Like 100%. That's the most practical global disaster.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, you've seen like the solar flares that happened. What was it? Was it in the I can't remember what year it was, but it wiped like everything for like a 900-mile radius.
1859.
1859.
Yeah,
See, you knew it right there.
yeah.
Right there. You were on it. This wasn't even
Thank
on
you.
our
I
list of
think
questions. We were just,
no.
we're free for going it.
Yeah,
Um, how do you balance the affordability and reliability in gear? Do you have like really expensive gear, average gear?
it depends. Some things you never want to cheap out on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Actually, you don't want to cheap out on anything, but then you also got to look at, are you paying for brand or are you actually paying for quality? And there's a kind of a fine line
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in there that you got to balance. Um, like for example, I just got a Nesco dehydrator because I couldn't decide what to buy. I put that in there for this video, by the way. I bought it
I like
yesterday
it.
with the first bit of cash I made from social media. I got it from Facebook.
Nice.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I bought that yesterday, and I couldn't decide which one to buy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking all over the place. I'm looking at these Excelsiors, which look amazing, and I'm also
Right.
looking at these other cheaper ones, these no name brand ones, and I could not make up my mind. So I went to Walmart and got the Nesco,
Save
just
your
cause.
receipt. Use it as a tax
Oh
write-off
yeah,
with your business. I have a
yeah,
cheap dehydrator and I've had it for I want to say like 15 years and it's still running strong. And people will go, "Where
well
did you
done.
get it?" And I'm like, "I don't even know." Like she's so old, but she does great and that's going to up your game especially in food preservation with
Yeah,
dehydrating. Do you and your family do any canning?
my mom is a big canner, and I do have another little tiny Nesco, the plastic one
Mhm.
that we messed with, made some jerky. Um, but canning and a little bit of jerky is about it for home stuff, basically.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Do you and your wife, I know that this is not on our list of questions, but a lot of people seem to struggle with getting their spouse on board. Is your wife involved in your prepping?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
100%.
I keep making the joke to people when I meet them, and I'm like, they're like, how do you know, like, if the relationship's going to work out? I was like, well, just ask them what they think the closest SHTF is going to happen and what happens when the grid goes down. I was like, then you can put a ring on it. You can put a ring on it.
All right. That's fair. Yeah, I see that as a common thing. People do complain about my spouse isn't on board with my prepping. And
Mm-hmm.
like, well, there's kind of nothing you can do about it now except try to reason with them a little bit,
Try to bring
you
them
know?
in. Yep.
Yeah, use some
I,
common sense. And also, people complain about money. I'm like, are you spending all your money on prepping gear? Like, let's be
mm-hmm.
fair to the other spouse here too. Like, do they have a little bit of a valid point? Because I don't know you, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to see both sides of it. And then I do a lot of teaching on like the frugal aspect, like having a really strong food storage, a rotational pantry, all of those things. My husband at
Yes.
first was not on board with it. He was like, why do you have hundreds of pounds of rice? What is going on? And I was like, and then when we first started dating, it was right when the housing crash happened. You know, the Great Recession came in. And I was like, well, we'll use all of this. We can do blah, 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 blah. And it was teaching him the old poor ways, you know, new poor versus old poor. And he was like, that kept us afloat for like 10 years. Like we were able to use it and then replenish it and those kind of things. And so then he finally got on board. He was like, oh, we got to really push further on this. So I always tell people turn off your power breaker, flip off the power, see how long you guys can go without power until somebody freaks.
Well done. That's actually pretty good. Both of those two things are pretty good points to make.
Hmm.
Glad he came on board, and turning off that
Right?
power is a great test. Once that AC starts coming, like starts dwindling away in the house, yeah,
Hmm.
that
Yep.
sucks.
Well, because you live in a hotter area, that would be awful once there's no AC.
Yeah.
You've built a large following on the prepping world. How do you handle misinformation and fear-based content online?
I wrote down something for that. Let me look at it here. Mm, all right. So for misinformation and fear-based stuff, some things that can be over sensationalized, and maybe you should be a little bit afraid of it. Um, Part of that it would be like AI. That's pretty scary. Um, will will my job be taken by AI? Will other people's jobs be taken by AI? Some of them will, but more
Hmm.
importantly, like it's more like your kids and your grandkids. They're the ones who are really gonna be super affected by it.
Hmm.
I just saw a video of it was a dark factory in China with no
Yep.
workers, all AI. Same with the port, all these little robots running around the port, moving shipping containers.
Yeah.
And where I'm from, the port is big business, huge business. All
Yeah.
those guys at the port drive big trucks, got wads of cash, big houses. Some of them got wives and girlfriends. It's funny. Um, they're doing very well. And if they were just removed from the economy, that would destroy things. Because
Hmm.
we have like four ports around here,
Yeah.
which bring in billions of dollars.
Well, I mean, we saw what the port strike last year that was about to go
Yes,
on, and that was going to affect millions and millions of people. And people don't realize
yes.
how important that is. And then you put it all into this artificial intelligence. I have quite a fear when it comes to AI when I look at it because there's sometimes videos posting you can't tell if it's real or not real.
Yep. Yep. I had my first video. I think it was my first one recently where I saw a video and I thought it was real. And then someone looked at it and was like, "Oh no, that's fake. Look right there. You can see it's messed up." And I'm like, I think that's the first AI video that really got me
Yeah.
that I know of. Because I could be fooled and just not know it.
Yeah, I saw one with like a little baby sitting on the back porch and this bear like came over and I lived in Alaska, so like that's pretty normal there. And they were like, that's AI. And I was like, oh, oh, that cut me off. So what if they start impersonating people? We're all saying AI. Your politicians aren't even humans anymore. They're AI.
Yep.
It's a weird world. Weird.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Ooh, there's some really good ones on here. Do you think social media has changed the prepping community for the better or for the worst?
I think for some people, for the better. 100%, some people. Um, and some people not so much, maybe. Some people can get really worked up, get very emotional and afraid
Hmm.
when they really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So
Where
it
it's
just
like
depends.
that fear mongering where like people like they can't function because that's all they can think about is they saw that reel or they saw this and everything's gonna end. Sometimes we have to take a step back and go, you know what, prepping has been around. I mean, prepping is the food like preservation, prepping, survival skills. That's what's actually set us apart from animals for a very long time. Every single culture on the in the world has performed some level of prepping, whether it's food preservation, growing, homesteading, those kind of things, the growth of food, and that's what allowed us to be so successful, thousands of years later.
Well said. Very well said. Yeah.
In your view, what's the biggest misconception of people have about preppers?
Biggest misconception that everyone's loony and paranoid and delusional. That would probably be it. Um, and I think the show, which I do love the show, is Doomsday Prepper show.
Mm-hmm.
It's so entertaining. We need another season. It's so overdue, but it kind of makes people look a little crazy and stupid. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they kind
Yep.
of use that Hollywood magic to make people look dumb.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
I think
Yeah.
now, as even time's gone by, people are more drawn to it. They're like, well, the world's kind of bad. We hear it all the time. Nothing's ever going to happen, right? And then things keep happening, and you're like, am I that crazy? Maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah. Things are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100. Yep, I agree. If someone's overwhelmed by where to start, what's the first step you recommend to people?
Um, Assess your situation. What are your most likely disasters going to be? Most of the time, it's going to be natural stuff. Like if you live in the Southeast, hurricanes,
Mm-hmm.
Midwest, tornadoes. If you live out in California, fires. As just a few examples, and prepare accordingly. Um, and for universal things you can do is like the pantry. I think that's one of the most important preps you can have, and that's one of the funnest and best places to start. Right there. How much food do you have on hand? Is this long term going to last 30 years? Or is it like an MRE or a canned good that's going to last 5 or 10 years? Get both,
Yep.
right? Prepare for everything. Yeah.
What small habit mindset shift can help somebody become more self-reliant by starting today? I know you just covered pantry, and that I think is like the kickoff.
A mindset shift. Hmm, I don't know. What question was that? Was that question 15?
Yes.
Okay, ask me the question one more time,
Ye-
please.
Yeah, you're good. What small habit mindset shift can help someone become more self-reliant starting today?
I wrote money management
Ooh.
because I feel like people who can't manage their money aren't going to be able to manage anything else. And money is kind of makes the world go round. If you want to work on your pantry, you got to buy jars and you
Mm-hmm.
got to buy the desiccant packets and you got to buy the mylar sealers and all that stuff. You need your guns and you need all your gear, and it doesn't work if you don't have money. Also,
Yep.
I'd like to point out that most disasters, most of them around the world, if you got a little bit of money, it can help. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not the end all be all. Sometimes lead's more important than gold, but also bribing someone at the airport or a guard in some third world country or buying a bus ticket with some cash or silver, that could help.
Yeah, that's a very interesting
Yeah,
point. I didn't even think of it from that perspective at all.
yeah,
What
thank you.
trends or threats do you think that people should pay more attention to right now with the way that the world is right now?
Mm, Trends or threats with the way the world is.
Hmm.
Geez. I'd say for the world is probably dystopian governments. That's probably one of the biggest threats facing the world. Yeah, I think I'm going to butcher this, but George Orwell said something about the future is a boot on a neck and it's there forever. Let's try to scoot that boot away from the neck, while we still can.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
All right. And finally, what's one thing that you hope viewers will take away from this conversation?
One thing to take away from the conversation. Um, like and subscribe. Also, get out there and take your personal safety and your future in your hands. Um, you're responsible for yourself and nobody else, and your family, of course. That'd be it. Of
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on here today. And as
course.
always, you guys, stay aware, stay prepared, and always have your head on a swivel. Make sure you go check out his pages on Facebook. I'm going to be linking them down in the description down below. Also, he has an Instagram, he has a TikTok. Y'all go hit those follow buttons, and he has a YouTube account. So all of that will be in the description down below. And I appreciate you coming on here.
Of course. Glad to be here.